Hey guys, Tech Timmy here. So in this video, I'm going to be doing an unboxing, setup, and also an initial review of the Nuroum 4K video conferencing camera. So this is a budget 4K video conferencing system that was designed for small businesses. The question I'm asking today is this budget-friendly camera sufficient enough for your small business, or should you go with something a little bit more high-end? Without further ado, let's get into the unboxing.
Oh boy. It's Tech Timmy time.
Okay, so here we are over at my unboxing station. First and foremost, I had wanted to give a shout out to the folks at Nuroum for sending me over their C46 camera model to test. So again, this is the budget-friendly video conferencing system designed pretty much for small businesses. What I'll do is, as I'm taking it out of the box, I took a few notes. So I'll go over some of the key specifications of the product for you guys. I have my bat knife on standby here, but it looks like I'm probably not going to need it. I notice there's a nice little tab on the top. Right off the bat, I'll just say, so this is a tall device. So it's very reminiscent of the old Amazon ECHO, and I spell it out so I don't set my devices off here at home or yours at home either. Reminds me of that in terms of that cylindrical design and so forth. It also has a light ring similar to the old ECHO devices and some buttons on the top, which we'll take a look at in a second. But yeah, without further ado, we'll get this out of the box. And right off the top here, we have some documentation. So here's a warranty card, and here is a document. Okay, and so here is the part that I was most interested in. So we have our document with our call outs and so forth for the remote, and then also for the device itself, which I will get my magnifying glass out and we'll take a closer look at this before we get into the review portion. So here we go. So okay, so on the top, looks like they do a nice job with the packaging. So we have a package within a package, or a box within a box, if you will, here. And so we're going to open this first. And this looks like it is where we have all of our cables and so forth. All right, so this looks like we have a USB Type-C to USB Type-A and C. Yeah, this I believe connects into the device itself, so the USB-C side, and then you have the option of going either A or C, connecting into your laptop, whatever you want to connect this thing into. And next in the box, we have the international plug on the device itself, which is fine. So they include this little adapter for US type power, which is great. And then this, I believe, is the power cord itself. Yep. So that is sort of this is sort of the international standard. And if you're in Europe, say, we can use a different adapter for your style of plugs there. I believe it's also the same for Britain as well.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
So, and that just slides on just like that. Super easy, guys. And if you want to take it off, push the button, slides back off. With that button locked, so that button keeps it locked in place. And then we have our power connector to connect into the back of the device. And then over here, this looks like the remote. And indeed, okay, so a nice little remote. And so this, my understanding is, will allow you to control things like, zoom in and out, panning around the room and so forth when you're doing a video conference. A number of different controls here, including the ability to mute things out, camera off, and mute as well. So looks like a standard remote. I do believe that we're going to need to add a couple of, looks like we have a couple of AAA batteries we're going to need to install, and I'll get those out in a sec before we do the review and give this a test. But now, where the magic happens, we'll just pull our box back out here. Foam, yay foam. We love foam at Tech Timmy. Okay, and now here is the device itself. Interestingly, it's not as tall as the box. Good on that, because I was a little concerned that this thing would actually be huge. So it does. It looks a lot like my favorite of all time of the Amazon ECHO devices, the old version of the standard Amazon ECHO. That really reminds me of that. Although the color is a lot nicer. It's got sort of that, it's like a grayish silver, maybe coffee would be best, a good word to describe the color here.
If you want the thing you love,
you did it! Congratulations! World's best cup of coffee.
But I really like the color. It's sort of conservative and business oriented. In terms of small business, have clients come in or whatever. This thing will definitely make an impression. But this thing does feel premium in the hand. It's lighter than I was expecting. And so those four tiny little circles here are microphones. So they call that a 4-microphone array, and that makes it omnidirectional. So you can pick up people speaking from wherever they happen to be sitting in the room. We have noise suppression built in here. So that's AI-driven technology. technology that reduces background noise and also the echo, and a full duplex speaker ensures clear two-way communications. And the few demos that I've seen of this online, the sound quality is super impressive. So we'll also test that out here in a little bit. And then, so the other thing that I wanted to say is regarding the camera. So this will do 4K Ultra HD video, and it has that Sony CMOS sensor, which will basically deliver crisp and clear visuals. And so 4K, honestly, you're not going to get any better than 4K in a budget video conferencing camera, but I've seen, again, the quality in the demos that I've seen, it looks actually amazing. And then we have a 120-degree wide-angle lens. So this will actually show all the participants in the room, which is great, particularly, again, if you're hosting meetings and you have clients come in or whatever. And even if you're doing training, so if you're doing trainings where you have a bunch of folks in a training room, say, this thing is ideal. And let me just do a little bit of housekeeping here so we can see all the different parts. Oh yeah, no, I said I was going to connect this in to show you what that looks like. Engineering on this thing is brilliant, in my opinion. They have these little divots in the bottom where the cables go through. You have a little canal there the cable runs through, so that way it doesn't mess up what's going on with the bottom. And then same for this guy here. So yeah, my instinct was right on this. So USB-C into the device. So I'm unwrapping the USB-C cable here. And then so I'm going to plug my USB-C cable right here into the device, just like so. And then that goes here. And then we have our USB-A or C into your laptop or whatever other device you're using for input output. And okay, so there's that. Power cable now is ready to go. And then I'm going to, just to kind of prove this out, I'm going to sit this down, and it sits there nice and still and sturdy. And then, so that's good news, because again, with sort of a long, tall, light device, my fear is that someone would knock this onto the floor. So you're going to want to put this in the middle of the table or whatever. It does seem to be well built where it could withstand a fall. Not really sure. And they also have this rubberized bottom as well to sort of help with traction on your table or what have you. Oh, and there's also a threaded socket here. If you want to put this on a tripod, might be a good idea actually to sort of maybe even put it, in the center of the room, whatever, on a tripod. That way you're not going to run a risk of someone knocking it off the table. So with all that said, I am going to get this thing plugged into my computer. I'll show you the process of how that works. My understanding is completely plug and play, and then we'll do a little demo. Okay, so yeah, so I wanted to basically, for setup, step you through the same experience that I'm having on my end. So I brought my trusty laptop over, and so this is the integrated webcam you're looking at right now. That's built into my laptop, which the quality is just terrible. So this is not the Nuroum camera by any stretch. This is that camera coming out of my laptop. And so I am going to plug this in just to see how truly plug and play it is. I have the Zoom app up on my phone. I have not yet started the meeting, but we'll do that in a second. So, but basically this should allow us to choose our audio and video source. But let's just see if this automatically switches over to Nuroum. So I plugged it in, and so it did automatically switch to the Nuroum as our audio source. And then here I can change it to wow, okay. What a difference. That is fairly amazing difference in level of quality here. And of course, we're looking at my laptop screen. It'd be different if you were viewing on a larger monitor for sure. But let me go ahead and start the meeting, and we'll take a look and see what this actually looks like in the full app. Yeah, I'm blown away by the level of the night and day difference between this and the webcam. And just to kind of hammer the point home here, look at how grainy and washed out I am here. So that's the difference between 1080p, which I think is the default of this terrible webcam on the laptop, and then the Nuroum, which is 4K, and it's just stunning. It is quite the difference. Hopefully you guys can see. Just when they tell you, it's an amazing difference in picture quality. Now I have the remote in my hand. I'm zooming in, and then I can also, I can pan up and down as well using the arrow keys here. And so this will allow me to sort of go all around the room. I believe the AI feature will automatically focus on the person who's speaking. So in this case, it's only me in the room, but that's what that guy does. So if you're at a conference table, say, it will, it's coming in. So it's from my hand back. Let me see if I come over here. Yeah, so it is. So it's actually following me around. Multiple participants, it would be a little bit of a better demo, but this is just super cool, guys. I'm like blown away by how amazing this is. And now, so if I don't want the AI feature, I can turn it off. I can control it manually myself. And again, the picture quality is just stunning, particularly compared to my poor webcam. But I'm just really impressed. So a couple more quick things to touch on here is we have our menu. And that basically pops up a menu on screen that will let you mess with the exposure and the image and language, which I would do for sure if I was, you know, maybe the sort of the tech head of the small business, whatever. You can adjust the image, language, and then you can also restore defaults here. This is basically I believe that's a return. Yeah, so that will get rid of the menu. And then, yeah, and then the AI thing is really fun. And then of course, on this itself, now if I wanted to turn off the camera, say, maybe, I don't know, you're doing something inappropriate in a meeting, whatever, you can just, you know, it's as easy as that to turn it off. And then similarly, if you want to drop an F-bomb maybe, so now it's basically muted. So this is a very powerful device for small businesses to do their video conferencing. And if you have multiple people in the room, this will automatically focus on the person who's talking, as I showed you with the AI capability there. Very, very cool. Yeah, so that is basically my unboxing, setup, and review. And I will go back over to my podium and give you sort of my verdict on this device, which I think you probably all already know what I'm going to say. So in terms of verdict, the Nuroum C46 video conferencing device is an excellent value for small businesses who want a 4K video conferencing solution that comes with AI enhancements that will follow you and follow meeting participants around the room so that everyone is seen and heard with clarity and quality. I am super impressed by this device, particularly at the price point, and I would say I'm going to go ahead and give this my recommendation in terms of if you're looking for a video conferencing device for your small business. Anyhow, so that's my unboxing, setup, and review of the Nuroum C46 video conferencing system. And if you got any value from this video, if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button, helps out the channel a lot. And please subscribe for a fun take on tech. I do all sorts of videos about tech and hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.